Thank you, mighty Father, in Jesus' name.
(419). I have not. Are you with me? I've only heard of professors. I've only heard of doctors. I've only heard of great professionals, economists, and so on and so forth. People that are making waves in different areas of life. These two people I want to introduce to you, they were part of that team that molded the character of students in this school in our own generation. And as I introduce them to you, please let us rise in unity and appreciate them. The first person I want to mention was our mathematics teacher. Very gentle, very unassuming, very calm, very humane. I want to introduce Mr. Ojuwusi to you. Please appreciate him for me. Are you there? Okay, let me finish. I'll give that to you. Thank you very much. I said it. Please sit down. I said he was a very gentle man. He was a very cool, very calm, very collective. We used to make a statement then. I'm also, Mr. Ojuwusi, my auntie Jew. By that time, I know my auntie Jew. He would hardly look straight into your eyes, even as a student. But he did one thing that surprised many of us. He went away with one of our guests. He went away with one of our guests as his better half. Please let us appreciate him once again. Then I want to introduce another person to you. When we came in 1970, small boys and small girls, we saw one very beautiful, one very smart, one very psychedelic, one very phonetic young lady. What was she teaching? She was teaching French. And we'll meet her on the way. We will say, "Bonjour, mademoiselle." Right? And I saw her this morning. I said, "Je m'appelle Adeniji Odebode." I don't know whether I'm correct, ma. So I want to introduce to you. Also, an old student, I think 1969 set or 67. Ma. 69 set or 67 set. Methodist High School. 68. Oh, wow. 1965 set of Methodist High School. And she came here to teach French. And I remember, ma, when you were going to Gambia, you left to Gambia at a point, and there was a send-off for you at the assembly hall. Right? You went to Gambia for a French program then. I can still remember very well. She's Mrs. Eunice Adegoke Ni Oluide. You are welcome, ma.
Thank you. Bonjour. Bon. Comment allez-vous? Ah bon. Bon, applaudissez. Applaudissez. Bon. I said bonjour mes amis. That is good morning or good day, my friends. I now say my friends in French. I can no longer say my students. Now you are my friends. And I pray we remain friends forever. I'm so happy to be here today. I'm so happy. And I can see happiness clearly written on your faces. Thank you very much. Thank you. I love you so much. The Lord will continue to be with you. The Lord will make you great. Your homes will remain united. Your children will make it in life. You will prosper in Jesus' name.
Hey, I want to hand over the microphone to the MC for today, who will anchor the program. Thank you very much.
Good morning. Good morning, everyone. I am very, very sorry. I want to apologize for my shortcomings. I came here a bit late. I'm so sorry. Please forgive me, grandpas and grandma. I'm so sorry. It's not one of the things that I do. But, 5 years ago, this guy was in the registry, making sure that all the D's were signed on dotted line. So today is my 5 years anniversary as a married man. So I would say it was quite difficult to get out of bed, when my wife was, still cuddling and all of those. But I'm so sorry. Thank you. All right. Good morning once again. My name is Chegofomi Owolabi. A lot of people call me Dashin Daniels. I'm the head of presentation. Unique. Hello. All right. Can I use second mic? Okay. Yeah. I'm the head of presentation, Unique FM 103.1. I do this, one of the things I do for a living, and I'm very thrilled to be amongst you, grandpas and grandmothers this morning. I am encouraged that, no matter how long, because I was here yesterday, no matter how long, you have left a certain environment, there is always dignity in trying to give back to that environment, especially an environment that made you. Most of us are aware how much the secondary school education mold us to who we are today. couple of minutes now, in 1 minute or two, because of the peculiarity of today's event, there might be difficulty in, creating some more memories apart from the ones that you have on live streams and, Facebook and all of the social media platforms. DJ, please, I need this microphone sounding well. All right. Okay, I think I'm sounding better now. All right. So I would like us to walk up to one another, take a photograph of each other, personal photograph. If you need me to help you, I will help you. Just walk around, welcome someone to this gathering this morning again. Let us take the shots. Some of us might not even have time. Bros, if we need just one microphone, let's just use one, okay? So can we do that now? We just walk around, just snap photos. Okay, you have done that. Oh, great. Because, when we put those things, photographs, what it does is that it reminds us of, times like this. I'm sure many people have not seen anyone in the past 50, 40 something years here. And we are here this morning. So, Oluwashim. All right, I'm also celebrating grandpa and grandma. Mommy, that was about 65 years ago you left here, ma. Wow. And mommy is still looking this great. Please celebrate daddy. If mommy is looking this way, please celebrate daddy. Daddy. Wajawama. Anybody ko ni ribe. I followed you. Akonlapa ko senu trailer. Because, if this daddy has not been giving her moral support, financial support, intellectual support, bedroom support, she'll probably not still be standing like she is today. Please celebrate mommy once again. And let us celebrate daddy. All right. Students, how are you doing this morning? Good morning, everybody. Happy weekend to you. Methodist school. Great. All right. So here we go. I quickly want to call the following people to the high table this morning. I want to recognize the presence of Mr. and Mrs. Adegoke. Please, I'd like you to come forward to the high table. Thank you so much for coming, Mommy. Thank you so much. Mr. and Mrs. Adegoke, thank you so much. I need the usher to just help me usher them to the table. Thank you, Mommy. Ashe Goma. Ashe. All right. Do we have music at all this morning? We don't? If we do, please, I'd like you to just, let's have interludes, please. Let it come in as a filler. All right. We also have Mr. Ojiwusi here this morning. Ojiwusi. Okay, thank you, Mr. Ojiwusi. Grandpa, thank you so much for coming, sir. Akurin, sir. Thank you. Mr. Ojiwusi. All right. Mrs. Sharon, she's the principal of the school. Please, let's welcome her to the high table. Thank you so much, Mommy. It takes a lot when you put a lot to this teaching profession. Thank you so much, Mommy. Mrs. Sharon. Alright, I also recognize the presence of Owode. Mr. Shagun, thank you so much, sir. Engineer, am I correct? Yes, thank you, sir. Bola Falore, I don't know if this is on Mr. Bola Falore. Thank you so much, Mommy. Only wants to collect from his company. All right. so much. Daddy, a cowboy, sir. Daddy, a cowboy. Daddy, no, all right. While all of those was going on, we have Mr. Bode Ojola, who is representing the chairman, Board of Trustees, 1970 set. Thank you so much. Grandpa, I heard that mommy called you about 70 now. You look 50. You look 20. Thank you so much, Daddy. Eshegon, sir. Eshegon, Daddy. All right, we also want to recognize the presence of, and of course, bring to the high table, Mrs. Funke Alonge. Mrs. Funke Alonge, is she here? She's there already. Okay, thank you. And also, I'd like to welcome the presence of Dr. Olajumoke Ogunraye. Right? Ogunraye, thank you. Dr. Olajumoke Ogunraye, where's she? Where's she? Doctor, please, mommy, you are too humble. Please, humbly stand and go to the table. Thank you so much. Please celebrate her now. When a doctor is humble. Come on, doctor, for that matter. Celebrate her.
Èmi tọ́pẹ́ tọ́ sí mo mọ́ra mi. Èmi tọ́pẹ́ tọ́ sí mo mọ́ra mi o. Èmi tójú òtìrì tójú òní sí láéláé. Èmi tọ́pẹ́ tọ́ sí mo mọ́ra mi. Mo gbé ọ̀gá. Èmi tọ́pẹ́ tọ́ sí mo mọ́ra mi. Èmi tọ́pẹ́ tọ́ sí mo mọ́ra mi o. Èmi tójú òtìrì tójú òní sí láéláé. Èmi tọ́pẹ́ tọ́ sí mo mọ́ra mi. Àlẹ́ mi tọ́pẹ́ tọ́ sí mo mọ́ra mi. Èmi tọ́pẹ́ tọ́ sí mo mọ́ra mi o. Èmi tójú òtìrì tójú òní sí láéláé. Èmi tọ́pẹ́ tọ́ sí mo mọ́ra mi. O ṣé o bàbá o. Èmi tọ́pẹ́ tọ́ sí mo mọ́ra mi. Mo mọ́ra mi o. Èmi tọ́pẹ́ tọ́ sí mo mọ́ra mi o. Èmi tójú òtìrì tójú òní sí láéláé. Èmi tọ́pẹ́ tọ́ sí mo mọ́ra mi. Kò lè yan bàbá aláìlú ọmọ.
All right. I am told that we would have a lecture, and of course it's on our order of programs this morning, and career talk by the guest speaker, which would also include time and questions. So I'm sure that the children will keenly listen to this part of the program. It is very important. I hear some of our daddies talk about some of the things that they have achieved in their field yesterday. I hear the engineer spoke about the numbers of years, the assistant senior boy in his set, Daddy. I remember what you were talking about, the numbers of years experience you've had on the job. I remember the Daddy there, who is an retired electrical engineer who has a business now. You know, this is an avenue for the young ones here to listen and enjoy some of the training, some of the ideas that will be meted out to you this morning. All right, so introducing the guest lecturer, I want to call on Mr. Adeniji Odebode, who would introduce the guest lecturer. Thank you. Please, let's celebrate Mr. Adeniji Odebode. Please, let's celebrate them. I want your clap to be more. Because you will get there tomorrow. That's great. Thank you so much, Daddy.
Thank you very much. My duty now is to introduce the guest lecturer. And we can all see that she was called to the high table. Our topic for today is climate change, food security and health, navigating global challenges and careers in sustainability. Before I go to introduce this guest lecturer, we have chosen this topic because the issue of climate change is so current and it is impacting on the health of the people and food security. We have heard of drought, we have heard of storms, we have heard of all sorts, hurricane and so on and so forth. These are the things that impact on food security and health. And we have chosen this topic to expose our students to, because in those days when we were here, we knew of, going for medicine, going for pharmacy, going for engineering, going for education, and all those courses. And my experience has shown that the number of students offering geography in secondary school is diminishing. Not many students are offering geography again. And not many students are able to fix geography within the context of development studies. So we have chosen this to really align their thoughts and widen their scope as they get to SS1, SS2, SS3, and they are looking at life outside secondary school. What career? Which course? We want to tell you that there are other courses outside medicine. There are other courses outside engineering. There are other courses outside pharmacy and so on that you can really think of. But you need a background knowledge. Our guest speaker today, Olujumoke Adeshola Ogunrayi, holds first and second degree in meteorology from FUTA, Federal University of Technology, Akure, and a PhD in okay, let me do it like this. Is a meteorologist and a climate change expert with over a decade of experience in environmental sustainability and climate change. During her 18-year career in Ondo State Ministry of Environment, Nigeria, she served in various capacities, including becoming the Director of Climate Change and State Desk Officer on Climate Change. Olujumoke's expertise lies in assessing climate change vulnerability impacts and adaptation strategies, particularly in coastal communities. She also specializes in disaster risk reduction and intersection of climate change with agriculture, health, and the economy. She holds Bachelor of Technology and a master's degree in meteorology from Federal University, Akure, a postgraduate diploma in environmental management from Technik Universität Dresden, Germany, and a PhD in integrated coastal zone management from University of Cape Coast, Ghana. As a British Council Commonwealth Future Climate Research Fellow, she has led initiatives to mitigate climate change impacts, and promote sustainable development in coastal regions. Olujumoke participated in high-level panel and presented 2 public lectures in Ocean Pavilion at COP27. That is an international conference on climate change that held in Egypt in 2022. She co-authored the United Nations Ocean Decade Booklet for Africa titled The Science We Need, Nationalizing the Loss and Damage Fund Report from COP27 Outcomes. Trained as a climate leader by the African Group of Negotiators Expert Support, Olujumoke advocates for policy changes that promote a just transition to help communities better cope with the climate crisis, which he views as a threat multiplier. Olujumoke's commitment lies in advancing knowledge and finding innovative solutions to address the pressing challenges of climate change. Just of recent, last week, our guest speaker participated in the broad-based stakeholders final validation workshop for Nigeria's draft National Blue Economy Strategy that held last week in Abuja. I have the pleasure to call up our guest lecturer, Dr. Olujumoke Adeshola Ogurayi. You are welcome.
Please, you are not doing enough. Please stand. All the students will stand. You had that kind of profile. You did not stand. You were not even shouting. All right, I would like you, before she starts, I would like you to come up, pencil or your pen and a paper and put some things down. We're going to ask you questions. Welcome, Mommy. Thank you so much, Doctor.
Thank you. Thank you, sir, for the warm introduction. And a special thank you to everyone for being here today. It's a pleasure to be part of this important celebration. Yes, we are all aware that the world is facing unprecedented challenges. And one of the greatest is climate change. Climate change does not only impact the environment, but also impacts food security, health, and our livelihoods. Today, I want to take you on a journey, one that explores these opportunities, one that also explores this issue, also one that offers hope, solutions, especially for those of you looking to build careers in sustainability and make a difference. So let's begin by understanding the climate crisis itself and why it matters to all of us. First and foremost, let us talk about what climate change is. Climate change is defined as the long-term shifts in temperatures and weather. These shifts can be natural, but since the 1800s, human activities like burning fossil fuels and deforestation have been the main driver. So now that we understand what climate change is, let us explore its primary drivers. One of the key factors is the increased levels of greenhouse gases in the atmosphere, like carbon dioxide and methane. These gases are released primarily through the burning of fossil fuels, through the burning of fossil fuels like coal, oil, and gas. We rely on these fossil fuels for energy, for transportation, and for industrial activities. But their impact on the environment is significant, leading to the warming of our planet. The background picture here depicts Dangote's refinery, which comprises fossil fuel power plants, which are one of the greatest emitters of greenhouse gases that cause climate change. Globally, we are seeing the effects of climate change everywhere. Closer to home, it means more frequent heat waves because air temperature is increasing, number of hot days is increasing, changes in rainfall pattern, and even floods in unexpected places. These impacts affect everyone, especially communities that rely heavily on farming for their food and income, like many in our region. So now, why does this matter to all of us? This matters to all of us because climate change is real. The picture here shows that climate change is not just about rising temperatures, but it's affecting everything. It affects our weather, it's affecting the food we grow and our ability to access clean water. It also affects our ability to stay healthy. Not only that, its impact is felt all around us. For example, more frequent and severe storms, longer droughts, rising sea levels are symptoms of a larger climate crisis. What's more is that it will get worse if nothing is done about it. Now, the reason we are discussing this today is because people all over the world are being affected by the impact of climate change. Both the young and the older generations are going to be affected by these changes. But the good news is we all have the power to shape the future, especially the younger generations looking towards choosing careers that will make a difference. Now that we have discussed the broader impacts of climate change, let us take a moment to focus on Nigeria specifically. As you can see from these headlines, you can see that the country is facing serious challenges when it comes to food availability and rising prices. The news reports highlight the urgency of this situation. So now, how does climate change impact food security? Before we delve into this, what do we understand by food security? Food security is defined by 4 characteristics. Number 1, it talks about food being physically available, meaning that there should be enough availability of food. Second, people should be able to access the food, both physically and economically, which means that not only should we see the food, but we should be able to afford the food. And the 4th one talks about stability, consistency, meaning that the first 3 characteristics should remain stable over time. You can imagine a situation in which people are unable to access enough food, maybe due to things like adverse weather conditions, economic instability, or economic factors such as unemployment or rising food prices. This can lead to people being food insecure. Now we want to look at the factors that are behind this, driving forces of food crisis. First is disruption of agricultural production. Unpredictable rainfall affects crop growth and livestock, causing widespread disruption in food production. Now, if you look at this first picture, you will see that when there is less rainfall, it results into droughts. And this second picture tells us that excess rainfall will cause flooding, which will affect not only food crops, but livestock. Second, reduction in crop yields and livestock productivity. We experience this in sub-Saharan Africa, such as the Sahel region, including Nigeria, where farmers have seen significant reductions in yields of millet, maize, and sorghum, which are critical food sources. Now, the third is increased prices and food shortages. We are presently experiencing this in Nigeria. In many African markets, food prices rise dramatically after droughts or floods, leading to increased hunger and malnutrition. This can lead to long-term health benefits, especially in children. So now, I would like to share some case studies across Nigeria and sub-Saharan Africa. Just last month, September 9 and 10 to be precise, Nigeria experienced unprecedented flooding that devastated farmlands, crops, and even displaced communities in Maiduguri because of torrential downpour that happened for 2 days, where the dam, Alao Dam, collapsed. And the same thing is also happening, also happened in East Africa, like places in Kenya and Ethiopia, where frequent droughts have led to crop failures, forcing millions of people into hunger. So also in Southern Africa, like Zimbabwe and South Africa, where floods have devastated agricultural lands, making food even harder to produce and access. So climate change intensifies these challenges we are already facing in feeding our populations. So now, beyond climate change affecting food security and our environment, climate change also have impacts on health. So let us look at the impact of climate change on health. Climate change impacts health in 3 major ways. One is through the spread of diseases. For example, by altering the distribution of vector-borne diseases such as malaria and dengue. The second one is through malnutrition from food shortages. And the third is that climate change impacts our mental health due to displacement and food insecurity. And this effect, as a result of displacement, can cause anxiety and depression in the people that are directly affected. So, in a nutshell, the impacts of climate change on health have been explained by these simple mnemonics. And this mnemonic heat wave shows 8 significant effects of climate change. H, heat illnesses. E, exacerbation of heart and lung diseases. A, asthma worsening. T, traumatic injuries, especially during extreme weather events. W, water and foodborne illnesses. A, allergies worsening. V, vector-borne diseases. And E, emotional stress. This heat wave mnemonic is normally used in medicine to aid memory. So these conditions does not only threaten to burden health services, but also affect poor, vulnerable people who are already vulnerable to the impacts of climate change. So now in this slide, we are looking at the intersection of food security, health, and climate. I am going to talk about how these 3 areas are deeply connected. Climate change, like I said earlier, doesn't just affect one side or one aspect of life, but multiple areas that are crucial to people's survival. As Hippocrates, known as the father of medicine, wisely said that whoever wants to study medicine must first know the seasons of the year and the effects each of them produces. So even in ancient times, people understood the deep connection between our environment and health. So the same thing is applicable today. Climate change affects the air we breathe, the water we drink, the food we grow, and ultimately our well-being and survival. So how does climate change impact food security, and health. We know that food security and health are closely linked, especially when we talk about climate change. So when we say food security, as I've earlier mentioned, it means having enough safe and nutritious food to lead a healthy life. But if the climate is changing, leading to droughts or leading to floods or unpredictable weather, this directly impacts our ability to grow food. So without enough food, people's health suffers, particularly the most vulnerable. So now talking about the vulnerable populations. The impacts of climate change on food security and health don't affect everyone equally. Vulnerable populations like women, the poor, children, and people living in rural and coastal communities are hit the most. So we have some examples here, and I think we can actually relate to some of these examples. We have one such that small-scale farmers who rely on their land to feed their families are at greater risk when extreme weather destroys their crops. During flooding or when there is no enough rainfall, what happens to the crops? They die. Then, let me just talk about this one. Women in many communities are responsible for growing food and caring for their families. So when food becomes scarce, our mothers can relate to this. It affects us. So those are the impacts of climate change. Now let's talk about the broader global implications. When people don't have enough food or their health is threatened by climate change, they are forced to leave their homes for better living conditions. This leads to migration that we are seeing everywhere in the world, including in Africa. So climate migration can lead to overcrowding in cities. It can also lead to increased competition for scarce resources and even lead to conflict. Because it means when we migrate, I don't know if you are aware of an incident that happened in the UK, in Ireland, where the white people there were fighting Nigerians, claiming that Nigerians are competing with their resources. So it really led to the killings of some Nigerians in the UK. So those are the impacts of climate change. It leads to migration. When people fight because our people are finding it difficult to feed, so when they see any opportunity, they will say they want to japa. So that is the effect of climate change. So as we've seen, climate change has serious consequences for food security and health. But we are not hopeless. There are two approaches to combat climate change. They are mitigation and adaptation. So what do we understand by mitigation? What do we understand by adaptation? Mitigation focuses on reducing greenhouse gas emissions to slow climate change, while adaptation means adjusting our systems like agriculture and healthcare to minimize the damage from the climate changes that we can't avoid. So one important area of both adaptation and climate and mitigation is in agriculture. Sustainable agricultural practices like agroecology, climate-smart agriculture help reduce the environmental impact of farming, ensuring that we can still produce enough food in a changing climate. And we have an example such that in many African countries, small-scale farmers adopt these techniques to better cope with droughts, floods, and other climate impacts. Another important area is strengthening of the healthcare system, because climate change weakens the healthcare system. And this can be strengthened through one, improving infrastructure for resilience so that it can withstand the impacts of climate change, because floods can damage infrastructure. So we want to strengthen this health system by improving infrastructure. The second one is increasing access to medical supplies. And third, training healthcare workers to deal with these emerging challenges. Another important area is the integration of climate data into health information systems and disease surveillance. And this can be done using climate-related information like temperature, humidity, rainfall, and extreme weather events, alongside health data to improve how we track, predict, and respond to diseases. Then finally, tackling climate change at a larger scale requires governmental and international policies. So governments must make strong policies to support transition to clean energy by investing in renewable energy such as solar, wind, and creating incentives for reducing carbon emissions. Also, government can create policies to promote sustainable agriculture. Then thirdly, protect vulnerable population from the effects of climate change. So now coming to the main reason or main topic of this occasion. Addressing climate change is a global priority, and it opens up a wide range of careers opportunities. Whether you are passionate about science, about agriculture, about health, about policy, or even whether you want to work with international organizations, there's a way for you to contribute. So let us explore some of the key areas where you can build a meaningful career while making a difference. First, there is climate science and research. Understanding how the climate is changing and how we can predict future trends is important in creating solutions. So careers in this field include meteorology, environmental science, and climate modeling. These roles involve studying weather patterns, the atmosphere, and the impact of human activities on the environment. Another important area is sustainable agriculture and food systems. With climate change threatening food security, we need experts who can help develop farming practices that are resilient and sustainable. So careers in this field include agronomy, agricultural engineering, food systems, and management. For example, many countries are looking for experts in climate-smart agriculture to help farmers grow food more efficiently while conserving the natural resources. Like we mentioned earlier, that climate change is also affecting public health. This opens up career opportunities in public health, disease prevention, and healthcare systems. So as where professionals are trained to protect populations from the health impacts of climate change. There's also an example where public health workers in coastal areas may focus on preventing diseases like cholera that spread after flooding, or educating communities about the risk of heat waves. Oftentimes, when there is flooding, especially in coastal communities, they don't have access to clean water, such that many residents are forced to drink flood water. And when this happens, this can result into waterborne diseases like cholera. Also, if you are interested in how governments and organizations address climate change, you may look into policy and advocacy, which will be a good fit. Careers in this field include environmental policy analyst, advocacy and lobbying, and international development. These roles involve working with policymakers to create laws and regulations that help reduce emissions, promote sustainability, and protect communities from climate impacts. There's also an example of organizations like the United Nations, World Bank, or Greenpeace. Greenpeace is an international non-governmental organization that employ policy experts to shape global climate agreements and ensure that countries meet their sustainability goals. Finally, NGOs and international organizations play a crucial role in the fight against climate change. These organizations work on the ground, implementing projects that help communities adapt to climate impacts and advocating for change at a global level. So what are the skills? Having talked about career opportunities in climate change, in sustainability, what are the skills that students that you need for a career in sustainability? So let us explore some of these skills. First is the technical skills, which are very, very critical, especially in areas like data analysis, climate modeling. In many sustainability careers, you will need to work with large data sets, analyze trends, and understand scientific methods. I want to believe students, you've heard of data analysis, which is quite popular these days. So a climate scientist may use data analysis changes in temperature to track changes in temperature over time, while an agricultural expert might use GIS, Geographic Information Systems, to assess soil health across different regions. These skills are versatile. You can use them to map anything, to track trends. They are very important if you want to, look for careers in sustainability. Then sustainability is a broad field, and many of the most pressing climate issues require solutions that combine knowledge from multiple disciplines. So having an interdisciplinary understanding combining health, agriculture, and policy is increasingly valuable. That is why if you are a climate scientist, you can work in agricultural field, you can work in water-related field. It creates diverse opportunities if you are in the field of sustainability. So then another critical skill in sustainability is advocacy and communication. So whether you are working in policy, you are working with NGOs, or in science, you must have the ability to communicate your ideas clearly and advocate for change, thereby making an impact. So environmental organizations, for example, often need skilled communicators who can explain the urgency of climate action to the public and policymakers, creating awareness and driving engagement. Finally, collaboration and leadership are essential skills for working in sustainability. This field often requires working across different sectors and with diverse teams. So being able to lead and communicate effectively is key. I would like to share a bit about my own journey in building a career in environmental sustainability. Like someone from either our mother or our father, somebody mentioned that during my own time, it was either you go for medicine, you become a lawyer, you go for engineering course. Those are the three courses that were quite popular back then. But then in my own case, I became passionate about the environment. I love to see the weather, its chaotic processes. I love the way it rains, the way the weather changes. So this passion led me to study meteorology. Even when I went to the university to study meteorology, I didn't even have a full grasp of what meteorology means. Because oftentimes, or during my own time when I was in school, many of my mates thought that meteorology is basically geography. But you have to be well-grounded in geography, you have to be well-grounded in mathematics and physics for you to be good in meteorology. So this passion drove me to study meteorology for my first and second degrees. Then later on, I proceeded to study environmental management so that I will be well-grounded in this field. Then along the line, I decided, because I have had a first-hand experience on how climate change impacts environmental degradation. I've seen how climate change destroys livelihoods, especially in coastal communities, rendering the residents powerless. So this moved me to focus my career into coastal adaptation, looking at the vulnerability of these coastal communities to climate change. And I'll say that this has been fruitful and it has been impactful for me. Why am I saying that? What inspired me, having the opportunity to make a difference inspires me, and also fuel my passion towards careers in sustainability. And another important thing is that knowing the fact that, or seeing the real impact of my work, also encourages me to pursue careers in this direction. Another advantage that might also interest you students is that with sustainability, there are diverse career opportunities and financial rewards, and also to the chance to make a contribution to the global climate change scenario. And with this opportunity, I have been exposed. I have held key roles, like has been mentioned. I have represented the United Nations. I've been to Egypt to attend the largest conference on climate change, which is Conference of the Parties. And thank you. And I've also had the opportunity to participate, to co-author the Ocean Decade booklet for the African continent, such that students can have a simple terminology of what coastal environment and marine resources means. And recently, like it was mentioned, I just came back from Abuja as a key stakeholder to give my input on the national draft of the Nigerian blue economy, a new ministry that was recently established by this present administration. So there are different opportunities in having careers in sustainability. So that's that about me. Now let us go to some tips. What are the tips for students interested in these similar careers? Number one, find your passion. Identify areas where you enjoy most. Once you find your passion, focus your study and experience to this direction. Then secondly, gain practical experience. Look for internships, look for opportunity to volunteer, because having experience in this area is highly essential. Then third, be curious, stay curious and keep learning. Continue to learn. Do not be discouraged. Focus and keep on learning. You can look for online lessons. You can also, relate with peers that have shared the same passion in sustainability. Because sustainability field keeps on evolving. Like I always say, environment keeps on changing. So you need to keep updated, and that is why you need to keep learning. Then networking is key. Network with your peers. It could be your teachers. It could be industry professionals that are working in this area, because networking can open doors to opportunities and collaborations. Then finally, be resilient. Stay focused. At times, careers in environments can be challenging. It can be overwhelming. But you can take it one step at a time. So as we've discussed today, climate change is one of the greatest challenges facing our world. But it also presents one of the greatest opportunities for each of you. Whether you pursue a career in science, policy, health, agriculture, or any other field, you can make a real difference. So now let us explore careers opportunities. I mean, what are the steps we need to take? How can you start preparing? The best way to start preparing for a career in sustainability is to take action now. And you can do this by taking relevant subjects such as English, mathematics, physics, chemistry, biology, geography, or social studies, so that you can have a strong foundation. Do not say, because I am not studying medicine, I don't have to be good in physics, I don't need chemistry, it's only geography. No. If you want to be good in careers related to climate change or sustainability, you have to be sound in physics, in all these subjects. You have to be good in English, because it will help you in communicating your ideas clearly. You have to be good in mathematics. You have to be good in physics, chemistry, biology, geography. You have to know what is going on in your environment. Then if you want to look into the technical field, if you are interested in technical fields, you can look into climate science, data analysis, or public health courses. Even as a medical practitioner, you can focus your career or your field or your expertise into sustainability. There are some doctors that do research in these areas. Then get involved in internships in environmental organizations, government bodies, or research institutions. Internships offer hands-on experience and are a great way to build a professional network. Then volunteering with local environmental groups or NGOs. Students, I don't know if you do this, because in Ondo State, I have trained some students such that they plant trees in school. We bring some NGOs and they work together, they act as volunteers. You can also volunteer to clean the environment. So that way you are practicing, or you are applying what you are learning in the practical field. So before I conclude, I would just like to recap on what has been discussed earlier. And like I have mentioned, I said climate change is a serious global challenge with local consequences. And understanding it and taking action now is crucial, not just for our generation, but for yours and the generations to come. We also learned that climate change is already disrupting agricultural production, reducing crop yields and livestock productivity, and causing food shortages. We learned that climate change is creating new health challenges and worsening existing ones. And we are seeing the spread of diseases like malaria and cholera, increasing malnutrition due to food shortages. We also learned that the impacts of climate change on food security and health are deeply interconnected. Another important thing that we discussed is the fact that addressing the impacts of climate change on food security and health requires both mitigation and adaptation strategies. Also, there are many career paths available for those interested in addressing climate change, whether through science, agriculture, public health, policy, or working with NGOs. You can contribute to solving one of the world's biggest challenges. The key is to choose an area that excites you the most and start building the skills and knowledge needed to make a real impact. We learned that building a career in sustainability requires a mix of technical expertise, interdisciplinary knowledge, strong communication skills, and the ability to lead and collaborate with diverse teams. And lastly, I talked about my journey and how having a career in sustainability has been very, very impactful. So I would like to conclude and say that be the change you wish to see in the world. Each of us can create positive change no matter where we start or what challenges we face. So we want to start now, pursue the knowledge, the skills, and the experiences that will allow you to contribute to a more sustainable, healthier, and more equitable world. But before I finish finally, I would like to share 2 videos with you about the impacts of climate change. I would first and foremost like to share what has changed world round about the Sahara Desert. It's surprising. This is a recent event. I believe you've heard of the Sahara Desert. Yes. What do you know about the Sahara Desert? And what else? It is dry. It is completely dry. Can you imagine just last week? Let me show you what happened recently. See, I'm trying to increase the volume of this. Can somebody help? I want to increase the volume.
It's not even on the screen yet.
Okay, it's not on the screen. Oh, see me.
So the volume is
The
there.
volume is there. So let's put it on the screen.
So it has to be
I
on the
need to.
screen.
Oh, how do I put it on the screen? Okay. Ah. And I would love to share this.
Have you downloaded it?
No, I only copied the link. Maybe it can show.
Maybe it can't. Let's see if we can download it.
I tried to download it. It's not working. It's not working. I tried. It didn't work.
It didn't work. That didn't work too.
I tried to download it. But it done. Okay. Let me.
Hold on a second.
That's what happens. This keeps on popping up. So let me just.
Okay.
Check the cord, the cable.
Because it's supposed to show.
Yes. Okay, hold on.
Okay.
All right.
Unfortunately, I can't show you the video. But you can imagine Sahara Desert just last week. Rain that is supposed to fall for or rain for a year. Everything just came down within 2 days. Sahara Desert became flooded. And this has not happened for the past 50 years. That is the effect of climate change. So now there are some greenings that is being experienced, that is being noticed in the Sahara Desert. It's just to tell you that climate change is changing the track of storms. You know, I just listened to what is happening in the news that the track of storms now is moving northward towards Algeria, towards Morocco, whereas what we are supposed to be getting in Nigeria is reducing. You can imagine, and part of the reason why we are experiencing less rainfall. So I want to show you another one. This one we can see this one. This one is happening in our locality. No. It's not good. We can see this one. Can we use it to debug? No, this is not the one.
Is the audio coming on your laptop? I can download it.
Okay, that's a video of, I think, Maiduguri, somewhere in Maiduguri. That's not even Sahara. This is not Sahara, yeah.
That's Sahara. I'm talking about what is happening in our own locality. I'll now tell you what is happening. This is Ilesa, one of the coastal communities in Ondo State. This particular community is Ayotoro. Ayotoro is a community that is borders the Atlantic Ocean and the other coastal communities. But now it's at the verge of being inundated. Now, if Ayotoro disappears, you can imagine the impact of climate change. Now, the Atlantic Ocean the community is directly beside the Atlantic Ocean. Now, if Atlantic Ocean is overtaking this community, and it has led to the destruction of buildings, destruction of livelihoods, it has also led to migration because many of the residents are leaving this coastal community. Now, the big problem is that if this community becomes inundated, if it disappears, the other communities will be exposed to the Atlantic Ocean, which means the whole of Ilaje, the totality, 70% of Ilaje will disappear, and it will go underwater. So you can imagine the seriousness of the situation. Each time it rains, the problems doubles. Each time it rains, the problem doubles. And being a coastal community, the rainfall is higher than the ones experienced on the hinterland. So this is what is happening presently. Now, so this video shows how the community members, community people are begging the government for help to intervene and protect the coastal environment. And another thing is that it is one of the oil-producing communities in Nigeria that is facing these problems. So it's just an example of how climate change is affecting people everywhere. How it's also affecting the coastal communities. And I just made mention of that of the Sahara Desert to tell you the impacts of climate change, how it has changed, or how it has turned Sahara Desert, which is a dry land, to a flooded land. Thank you.
All right, a round of applause. I expect the applause to be more louder, All right, taking over from there is Mr. Adeniji Odebode, who will be in charge of the questions and answer segment of the program. Thank you so much, Daddy.
Thank you very much. One interesting thing.
Please, decorum, let everybody be on their seats. No noise, please.
Well,
thank you.
I have known the speaker for 10 years now. I met her in the course of...
Decorum, please, keep quiet, please.
I actually met her in the course of my consulting services in Ondo State. That was 2014. And I have noticed her passion for sustainability. While she was speaking, one interesting thing happened. You know, what we are doing here is being live streamed. It's watched globally. What we are doing here, everybody globally is watching. And we have received a feedback from South Africa. Somebody wants a note on the career pathway for sustainability. Are you with me, students? Somebody needs to know the career pathway for sustainability. Not from Nigeria, but from South Africa. And why am I saying this? I am saying this for you to value what has been brought to your doorstep. Are you with me? If this type of lecture is to hold somewhere, and each of you is to attend, I assure you, you will not pay less than 75,000 naira for a session like this because of the critical nature of the topic. So I want you to appreciate the fact that this particular topic has been given to you. It is time now for questions and answers. And somebody asked me whether it's only the student that can ask questions. And I said no. Because the topic we are discussing is so generic, is so global, that everybody needs to be aware of the consequences of climate change. I don't know whether you observed this month that there were more rains this month than former in the past years. Is that not so? And you are hearing incidences of flood here and there. These are consequences of climate change. When I got out yesterday and I noticed the sunshine, I cried a joke. I said the unpredictability nature of the climate is becoming more intensive. And why? The sun just came out yesterday, very, very sharp, as if it has not rained for some time. So those are the things that we are exposed to. So climate change and its consequences are relevant to every one of us, young and old. So we are expecting questions from the students, from the old students, from the members on the high table, just for enlightenment for each and every one of us to broaden our knowledge. So I'm ready to take your question, passing it to Dr. Ogunrayi. Okay, Engineer Makiwa, can you please come forward? Come. Okay.
Because in 1974, while awaiting my result, I gained admission to Federal Department of Forestry, Jericho, Ibadan. There and then, I was sent to School of Forestry, Jos. At that moment, in the 70s, we have School of History, School of Agric, School of Forestry, whereby you will be attending the school and you'll be earning your salary. We mentioned something on this climate change, and we were disturbed. We were talking of the spheres above the earth. We have the troposphere, the ionosphere, and the stratosphere. And we're told that this climate change, the burning fossil or whatever, will be depleting the spheres above the earth. We were worried. So there and then, we were told about afforestation to stop desertification. We were trained along that line for afforestation against desertification, because we were told that the desert was encroaching southwardly. We did northern storm and southern storm. I'm talking of 1975 now, 76. There in Olu, in the east, we saw what they were doing as tongue-year farming. Tongue-year farming, that's the mixture of afforestation with cash crops. By the grace of God, I was involved in monitoring and evaluation of J4 Forest Reserve. In 1975, they've already planted the trees. We were monitoring them. By the grace of God, when I was about to build my small house, I said, I have trees there. We were seeing Iroko and all the rest. So I went to my J4 to buy the plants. The unfortunate thing was that all the trees that were planted in 1974, they were being felled, being cleared. Then I contacted the forest officer. Is there any program to reply what you are cutting? He said, are you only a guy? No program. My dear people, I shed tears because of this. Where are the planks that the next generation are going to use after us? Look at the cost of just a small plank, 2x4 now. What is wrong with our country? The program of 1975 at J4 was sponsored by the World Bank. My salary then was more than a graduate. That even a master's. That when I was greeting one of my guys, God, so calling me Oga, you're earning more than me. Because living in Ibadan, I was earning money. So no afforestation in all the states, no afforestation program by the federal is unfortunate. We were fighting this thing as far back as 75. We were taught on how to prevent desertification of the southwest or the southern part. But unfortunately, this thing is terrible. You talk about the government impact. Yes, the government has to be involved. Let each local government plant trees to stop this desertification and change the climate through afforestation. Because it's going to strengthen us. Well done, my sister.
That was a comment and a contribution. We are still coming back to that. Yes, that girl, you have a question? Please come forward. If you like, you can write your question on a piece of paper and pass forward.
My name is Sambola Diaz and I'm the senior girl of the school. Please, Ma, I have a question for you. How can we put an end to this climate change? Because it has caused a disruption in many countries. So I want to know how we can put a stop to it.
Thank you very much. Another question before the lecturer will respond. Yes, move.
Okay. Hello? I just have 3 questions. Number 1, the guest lecturer talked about mitigation and adaptation. I want to know the reason why. The U.S. government is always U.S. government is always opposing every idea and every effort at fighting against climate change. That is one. Two, you talked about marine life during the course of your lecture. I've heard about soot, what they call it black rain. Those who have been to Niger Delta maybe had that experience. Now, by the time you are lecturing us, you said something about Dangote. What I heard is that Dangote is a high-tech company, that everything has been done to make sure that there's zero emission, according to them, zero emission of gases in that place. So that is why I said, I'm afraid what is happening in Niger Delta will not happen in Lagos. Like I said, so Dangote will not bring a black rain to us. Then, three, I don't know whether you must have heard of this man, John R. Christie. He's a professor, University of Alabama. He's an American too. He opposes everything that's being discussed here today. His own belief is that there are variabilities affecting climate change. That the sun itself, the intensity of the sun, varies, and that the output, the total, the energy output from the sun and the orbit of the earth, that is the angle at which the earth turns to the sun, is mostly responsible for climate change and not for all these human activities as it's being discussed. Among those variables is that he said there will never be a time that the climate is stable even on Earth. Thanks, ma'am.
Okay, please. I will pass paper around for you to indicate your questions. Let us answer these 4 questions first. The first question is, how can we end climate change?
Thank you for that question. You know, people always wonder, how do we end climate change? You see, my response is going to also be linked to one of the questions that Daddy raised. Now, naturally, the climate changes through natural process. Daddy, hope you are hearing that, sir. Yes. In part, I'm going to answer your question. The climate through natural process, through the sun, there was even a time scientifically, we had the ice age. So the climate changes naturally. But now, the problem now is that the climate has changed beyond the process through which it can repair itself. You see, when God created the world, I'll just digress a little bit. He created the world in a balanced way. So, but now the climate has changed beyond its ability to repair itself. And why are we complaining about these changes? We are saying that human activities are responsible for the changes in climate, such that the changes is in a fast, is so fast compared to what it used to be. That's the problem with climate change. The rate at which the climate is changing by human activities is so fast. Now, let me tell you why the climate is changing before we talk about the solution, what can be done. We cut trees. And when we cut trees, trees absorb carbon dioxide from the atmosphere. That is the function of trees. When we now cut these trees, and these trees store carbon dioxide in their roots, in their branches. When we cut down these trees, we release carbon dioxide into the atmosphere. And we are cutting down trees on a larger scale. We burn fossil fuel. That's why I mentioned that of carbon Dangote. There is no way it will not emit greenhouse gases. The only thing he can do is to capture the gas. And I don't think he has that equipment. He has that technology to do that. The only thing that can be done is to capture gases that are being released through the burning of fossil fuels. The fossil fuels, we use it for coal, èédú, àwọn èèyàn wa máa ń fi èédú dáná. We use it for petrol. Then we use it to burn our gas. We use it to cook in the home. So when they burn these fossil fuels, the fossil fuels release carbon dioxide into the atmosphere. And carbon dioxide and methane are the strongest greenhouse gases in the atmosphere. And what they do is they trap heat. It's a long process. When the energy, the heat comes from the sun, God has done it in such a way that everything is balanced. These gases, they take over the heat, such that too much heat will not come into the earth. Because if the earth is too warm, it is trouble. If the earth is too cold, nobody can survive. So it has been done in such a way, God has done it such that everything is balanced. But now, because these gases are much in the atmosphere, they are now trapping more heat. And as they are trapping more heat, they are releasing more heat into the earth. So the earth is becoming warmer. And like I mentioned, when we cut trees, we burn fuels, then this thing, what's it called? Where we dump sites. Ìdọ̀tí àtàn, oh my God, àtàn. That dump site generates high percentage of methane, which releases these gases into the atmosphere. Now, so the point now to what we can do to reduce climate change. The climate change has gone beyond what can be repaired immediately. It's going to take time. Now, some of the things that we can do, that's why I mentioned mitigation and adaptation. I said that mitigation is what we can do to stop. Either we stop it or we adjust to the changes we are experiencing. So now we can plant trees. We plant trees. It starts with you, it starts with it starts with every one of us. Even scientists are saying that even when we stop destroying the planet, even when we stop burning fossil fuels, when we stop cutting trees, the damage that has been done will still take years to be repaired. So, but the main thing is that we should start. We need to start from somewhere. So if you do your own part, and I do my own part, and everybody does his or her own part, then gradually we can reach a point where the climate can start, changing or repairing itself. There's something I noticed during COVID period. Everybody was grounded at home. Do you know that emissions reduced? Because there was no transportation, nothing, nobody was working, nothing. Emissions reduced. But now everything is back to normal. So that is why we are clamoring that we all have to change. We all have to protect our environment. So that is only through that process. Then there are so many options. We stop bush burning. We practice sustainable agriculture, like I mentioned. Several options. Then we transit to sustainable energy, like this issue of solar power. Instead of using generators, we stop all those things. So there are many. So if you can start doing these things, then the climate can gradually repair itself. But another problem is that the atmosphere has no boundary. The wind moves all over the world. So if we are doing it here and it's not being done elsewhere, it's still the same thing. We are still polluting the atmosphere. So those are the only ways. But the bottom line is, let the change start from you. Let us start. Let us start the change in repairing or in protecting our environment. Do you get it? Okay.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Okay. Sorry, sir. Sorry, sir. He mentioned, sir, you talked about climate vulnerability. And you talked about one man, somebody that said that invariably that man is saying that human activities are not responsible for climate change. We call people like that climate denial. Now, let me come down to our own locality here. Sir, do you remember that? Because I remember when I was young, the rain begins in April, May, so by June, it begins, we experience this heavy downpour. Then when it comes to November, we begin to experience this harmattan. Or before I come down to that level, at a point in the rainy season, there will be a time when it will continue to drizzle for like 7 days continuously. So are we still experiencing that today? Do we still have harmattan? It fluctuates. At times it comes, even for years, you don't even experience that. What do you think is responsible? The way that the climate has changed. Even look at the rainy season. This year, it didn't rain much. Because normally, we in Nigeria, in the southwest, we have two peaks of rainfall. We experienced the first peak in June, where we record highest volume of rainfall. We experienced one in June, then another one in September. Look at September. It started raining heavily towards October. So that is the problem. Look at the rainfall in Maiduguri. It rained heavily for 2 days continuously. See what happened. So it has changed. There are evidences to show that the climate has changed. Yes, people are saying, yes, the climate changes naturally. But we are saying that the rate at which the climate has changed is more. And it is because of human activities.
Thank you very much. One other thing that you need to mention is the depletion of the ozone layer, right? The ozone layer is the one that absorbs the energy of the sun, right? So if the ozone layer is depleted, what happens?
Let me explain that. Ozone layer issue is a different thing. It's a different ball game. Ozone layer is no longer depleted. It has improved. So the ozone layer on its own is like a blanket. Now the gases that deplete ozone layer is ozone itself, because when carbon dioxide reacts with water, the O, those of you that offer chemistry, the O becomes, it reacts with oxygen and it becomes ozone. And why is ozone layer? Why was it depleted then? Its own depletion came from what is called carbon fluorocarbon, CFLCS. That's that of the ozone layer. And we get this CFLCS from our roll-on, from the air conditioner, from the refrigerators. We get this CFLCS. So that is the own case. But along the line, when there was when people, the scientists began clamoring for the protection of the ozone layer, so they now change all these chemicals into friendly gases. So they don't use CFLCS, carbon chlorofluorocarbons, again to make refrigerators. That is why you have, if you look at your refrigerators at times, you will see energy saving, even air conditioners. So, and with that law, with those policies that stop the usage of gases like CFLES, so ozone layer, so the ozone layer has improved. So it's a different thing entirely. But this climate change issue, we are talking about gases like carbon dioxide. Carbon dioxide is the main culprit, and methane. And methane too can also come from livestock. You see, this our cattle. If a cow belches, if it gobs, that gas is methane, and it's powerful more than carbon dioxide. So those are the main gases that are causing climate change today.
Yeah, thank you very much. Thank you very much. It means I have personally been able to pick something from what you said. When you referred to refuse dump, so children we are now saying that there should be, as I was explaining to the principal yesterday, that there should be a culture of managing your waste, that you don't just dump waste at the dump site. If you do that, what are you doing? You are creating a source to generate methane. And this methane is one of the very powerful greenhouse gases. Are you with me? So when you now have your waste houses, make sure you do it according to instruction, so that you will not be creating forces that will be responsible for climate change within your campus. Is that not so? Thank you very much.
Sorry, sir. Let me just add this to what you've said. And I think students can practice this in school. You can, some of the things we can also do to reduce the effects of climate change. We can carry out waste separation. Please do that. You can do, I do that at home. Look for maybe a waste bin, one for papers, another one for bottles, another one for bowel waste. You know what is called bowel waste? Bowel waste is wastewater, maybe remnants of your rice, what you cook in the house, in the kitchen. So that bowel waste, it can serve as manure. So this one is, you can practice this in school. Then you can plant trees. It's doable. You do that. Students do that. They do that. Some students in Ondo State, they do that in schools. So you can, but the waste is very, very important. And if you do that, you notice that you are generating minimal waste.
Thank you very much, ma'am. So the next stage after we are leaving here is to go to our waste management shed we are providing for the school. That's a step we are taking. And from where we have just had now, we can do some other things. But my own comment is that when rain came over the world and destroyed everything, and Noah and his people came out, God said, I will never destroy the earth with water. So now we go destroy ourselves. We start to destroy ourselves now. And I want to say that the issue of this climate change, the clamoring came a bit late. As somebody in the building environment, I found that when an architect designed the building for you, he will never look at the effect on the climate. If you just sometimes the civil engineer will fight. We say, this thing you have drawn with your pencil, there's no way I can build it. So things that we have not been taking care until recently when we started talking about environmental impact analysis, but we have come too late. We have destroyed so many things before that. All those little things came out in the 1970s. I know my brother was studying metrology. You ask him, what are you studying? You say metrology. What is metrology? What is metrology? It didn't have any meaning to us. In those days, that was 1960s, at the 70s. What I'm trying to say is that we have destroyed ourselves so much. I want to advise us that whatever you can do at your own level, please do it. I'm not a prophet of doom, seeing anything tangible coming, especially from this developing world. Now we are clapping for Dangote, for what he's doing, what he has done, what we will do. But we are now hearing now that it's not likely that we will not have that effect in Lagos. And this thing, the way it is coming, I don't know whether every profession should build this thing into their curriculum. I'm an urban regional planner. When we were in school, we did all this drawing. But by the time I came back to be a lecturer in FUTA, we have been putting all these things into the program. You don't just say, put your building here. Why should you put here? Why is it not there? Why this place should be one-story building? That place should be bungalow. All those things, they are to be interdisciplinary action. Don't just come as an architect and just do so, or a medical doctor and just do anything. That's just my comment.
Thank you, sir. Sir, the thing is that the climate change did not come too late. The problem is that the awareness has not really been there. And because oftentimes the government prioritizes whatever economic growth over the protection of the environment. So that has been the main problem. Even as we speak, if the political will is not there, we can't do anything. Because the government will create policies. The government can say in each building there must be trees. We were doing that before. We were doing that at some point during Mimiko's administration. A house, a tree. So it's a policy by the government. The government can also say that nobody should build in a swampy area, because you see people doing that. Even when they have the money, they'll just go there, go and build there. But when it begins to rain, water will always find its cause. So that is the problem. So it's not as if the awareness came late. It has always been there about climate change, the effects of climate change. And we have destroyed the environment such that, and people still keep on destroying the environment. And the thing with climate change is that it's a chain reaction thing. It affects, it boomerangs and affects so many things. If you notice, there was a time when we had this issue of coronavirus or this all this monkeypox, whatever. It has always been that people, because of deforestation, we are moving close to the forest. We are moving, taking ourselves to go and meet these animals in the bush. When you now render them homeless, they have access to human domain. So that is why we are having contact with animals because of this so-called deforestation. And the thing is that this Western world, they keep their forest. They are protecting their own forest. But now there's also what we call REDD+. Reduce deforestation and forest degradation, something like that. It is now for us to keep our forest standing. So that is the problem with climate change. It causes so many things. In the fact, because we want to develop at our own cost. Look at the coastal communities too. Many of them are building close to the ocean. Look at Lekki. Lekki is always flooded anytime it rains. All because we want to live large, we want to live close to the ocean. It's not well planned. So what is the point? Sooner or later, many people will vacate their houses. And it's because of climate change. Ordinarily, that place shouldn't be a built environment. It shouldn't.
Question? No question. Well, there are some questions here. This climate change that is happening all over the world, is it natural or caused by human activities? So that you can answer everything together. The other one is, you told us how climate change affects us, and you gave us an acronym of heat wave and acronym of emotional stress. I want you to please emphasize more on climate change as it affects emotional stress.
You know, I said earlier that climate change, when I was given the definition of climate change, I said changes in the temperature and weather. Why are we even saying climate change? Let me first start. I always like to explain the difference between climate and weather, because people use them interchangeably, and they are different things entirely. When we talk about weather, we are talking about the condition of the atmosphere, what is happening right now, that is weather. But climate change is long term. If you ask me now that if I call you and say, oh, student, what is today's weather? What is the weather in your locality? You will tell me, oh, it is sunny, right? And the thing with weather is that it changes. In a twinkling of an eye, it can start raining. And if you tell me that the weather in your locality is sunny, and I can say that, oh, it's raining, maybe it's raining somewhere else, whereas it's sunny in your own side, that is weather. And weather is for a short time. it happens, what is happening where you are right now is the weather of that environment, and it happens for a short time. But the climate, now, because the weather has changed for a long time, you know, I mentioned that ordinarily our rainy season begins, let's say, March, April, May. You can now imagine in March, there's no rainfall. In April, no rainfall. Even in June. There was even a time the rain began in June, late June. I remember that year. Because oftentimes I take note of these changes. The rain began in June. And you notice one thing. Another time, maybe it will rain in April. You see farmers, they will say, oh, the rain has started. They will quickly go to the farm and go and plant trees. After a while, the rain will just stop. They will plant crops rather. And the crops will burn. So when this happens and it now becomes noticeable, oftentimes when it takes 10 years and when these changes have been observed for 10 years, minimum of 10 years, then we say the climate has changed. So if somebody, for instance, if somebody is coming to Ilesa now and the person is a visitor, the person wants to know what the climate is, you can tell the person that, oh, in April, normally it rains. In November, we begin dry season begins. That is the climate. It's something that has been observed for a minimum of 10 years, between 10 to 35 years. But because these changes have occurred, scientists are seeing that these things are not happening the way it used to be. And that is why we're saying the climate has changed. So now, I now mentioned that climate can be natural. The changes can be natural. But human activities, since the time we began this technology, well, everything has changed. So the rate at which the climate is changing now is so fast. And that, scientists now compared what it used to be, what the climate used to be, years back, when we were talking about even in the 80s, in the 70s, to what it used to be now. So you can see some changes. I mentioned something about data analysis. That is what data has told us. When you analyze data will tell you, oh, in the 1980s, it wasn't like this. You will notice that the temperature increase was small compared to what is happening now. It's so high. So that is why the scientists are saying that human activities are changing the climate. And I have told you, like I mentioned, that when we cut trees, so many things, when you burn fossil fuels, everybody wants to put their vehicles on the road, if not because of the fuel prices now. So you can imagine burning. In fact, there are some vehicles that are not treated. You can see the vehicle emitting carbon monoxide from its exhaust pipes. That is direct air pollution to the atmosphere. So those are the causes of climate change. So that is why we are saying human activities have caused climate change. Then you talked about this heat wave. Normally, we use these acronyms just to aid memory so that you can remember. Then you said emotional stress. You want to know how climate change is causing emotional stress? Now, I showed you a video of people living in coastal communities. Or you can imagine, you just wake up one day after a heavy downpour and you find your house in water. What do you think will happen? You'll be thinking, it can affect you. Where do you move? There was a time in the north, it rained. The volume was so high, and this particular house, I think it happened in Nasarawa, this building was flooded. Do you know what the father of the house, what he did was, they now, with the children, they now went into the ceiling. It happened in the night. Along the line in the night, one of the sons, that boy slept off and he dropped inside that water and he died. That is emotional stress. You can imagine the trauma the mother or the father would go through. Or even the trauma thinking about, where will I move to? Where will I move my family? Right now, the federal government is telling people in the north, at Kogi, in Kogi, Lokoja, to relocate. So you cannot imagine, where will I move to? You have always known a particular place that is your home for years, and something happens and you are now forced to move, and you don't have the money, you don't have the resources to relocate. Another example is, I showed you a video of the people in the coastal communities. Where will they move to? So another problem is that climate change also causes, when people now, that is migration. That is why we call it forced migration, because they are forced to move from their locality. So when you now migrate to another place, a community, you can imagine if millions of people from maybe Akure, they move down to Ilesa, and you have minimal resources in Ilesa. You want to eat, and these people, they are coming there to come and compete with you. It will cause conflict, because a time will come, you will say, no, this is our land. That is what causes conflict at times. This issue of Boko Haram too, that resulted into this Boko Haram issue, is also as a result of climate change, because they bring their cattle from the north. You know, we have lush vegetation in the south. The north don't have that. So they move their cattle here, and you can see what they are doing, fighting with farmers, with the owners of the land wanting to take over. So climate change, all these things will cause emotional stress. It will cause migration. Migration will cause overcrowding. Overcrowding will cause conflict. Conflict can even lead to war. So those are and this will cause emotional stress. When there is war, who survives? Many people will die. It's emotional stress. It causes anxiety. It causes depression. That is how climate change affects leads to emotional stress. So it's a chain reaction things.
Thank you very much. Engineer Shaudu.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Ashaolu. I have two major issues to dwell upon. Now there have been recently there have been flooding in eastern coast of the United States, specifically the Pacific Ocean. The latest is what happened in Florida, and it devastated that environment. Now, when people look at the western side, I'm talking now of Indian Ocean, you hardly hear of such incidents of flooding in that part of the world. The only one that we heard about is about, I think, a tsunami. That was about 5 years ago, which affected Japan. And thereafter, we have not heard of any other thing. Now, can you enlighten us what could have been the cause or causes of such flooding happening in the United States and not in other parts of the world frequently like that? Then number two is to bring awareness to all of us. One, we build our houses without trees surrounding us. That's our attitude. It's a very bad one. In fact, if we inculcate the idea of there are trees to plant that wind cannot easily blow and fall on your houses, which have a deep tap roots. There are some like that. But when we build a house, we don't care. Now, we have one attitude, which I want to illustrate with an idea. It's a script we all write for others to copy. Sometimes ago when I was in Benin, one woman bought banana, and then she peeled the banana with her little child standing by her side. After eating the banana, she threw the peel on the floor. She has written a statement clearly that littering the environment is in order, which is prevalent with us. In 1981, there was a flood in Ibadan called Ogunpa River. Is it? Okay. Now, what is the cause of that flooding? It's the dirty habit of the people dropping things along the water path, and it devastated that environment badly. So at micro level, the example this class has demonstrated, let it start with all of us. Let's take this home. Let us stop dropping sachet water after we might have leaked the water on the floor. Let us stop dropping bottles just anywhere. Let us take care of the environment. Tell it to your children. Tell it to your brother. Tell it to your sisters. I think this thing will reduce because the environment, the climate change is real and is caused mainly by human activities. Let us check this. Thank you very much for the opportunity.
Thank you very much, sir. In fact, you know, with climate change, we can just go on and on and on because it affects every aspect of our lives. So let me start with the United States. You know, there's something, scientifically speaking.
Hello.
I will always say that we are blessed in this part of the world. There are some countries, sir, that they are located on a tectonic plate. I'm not really asking, that is meant for the geologists, right? They are located. United States, part of the United States falls in that location. Places like New Orleans, I don't know what they can do to prevent like all this or the tsunami, you know, and so on. In fact, I was reading something yesterday. You know, I talk about that the environment keeps on evolving, keeps on changing. There's a place, I don't know if they're in the US or in the UK, where the government told the residents of these coastal communities that they are on their own. If you like, relocate. If you like, don't relocate. You are on your own. Because they don't know what to do again. That is why we still talk about, I want to refer to the building code. They too condemn building close to the coastal areas. And another thing that the only thing they do normally is this weather forecast. But still, some people will still be affected. For example, places like New Orleans, unless everybody wants to vacate that place. So there are some places that where the country is located, places like Somalia, and if disaster occurs, they will surely be affected. That is what we are blessed in this part of the country. We don't experience that. The major problem, the greatest environmental disaster we experience here is flooding or drought. So that is that. And I will also say that protection of this, prevention from these weather disasters also depends on technology. Like in Germany, for instance, Germany do these sea walls. When they notice that a particular place is going to be flooded, so they just bring it's a block, very solid, but it's very, very expensive. So they just have this wall that will demarcate the place, separate the flooded area from the areas that are not flooded. So then you mentioned about people just littering the environment. I condemn that too, because it's something I don't do. I don't like it at all. When I see people when they drive, even when they eat corn, they just throw it through the window. They drink water, throw the empty bottle, they take banana, even oranges, suck the juice and throw it outside. It's wrong. It's wrong. But it's something I noticed that each one of us can practice that. When you are done with a piece of paper, you don't wrap it and just throw it. It's not done. You can imagine if you throw yours, somebody throw his own, that person, it becomes a heap of papers. But that is why I said, let the change we want to see begin with us. You change, do your own part, I will do my own part, and when everybody does his or her own part, then we protect the environment.
Thank you very much. Because we cannot continue to discuss this, I want to see, Engineer Bolaji, you still have your question? You are okay? No, move. Let me find out from the I table, do we have any question? No question from the I table. Okay. 2 more questions. Somebody that has not spoken today. Do you have a question? Okay.
All right. Thank you so much, Doctor. While you were speaking, I wrote something down here. And I said, the choice of career. Let's talk about career now. In this subject, the climate change. Career preferences, are they likely to play major roles in dealing adequately with climate change? For instance, now, we have some of these careers that are actually going, to extinction because students no longer favor this career anymore. Young folks, young chaps like this ones want to do videos, put it on YouTube, go to Snapchat, TikTok, get money from there. If you ask a few people, gone are the days where you ask 100 students and they will tell you, I want to be a lawyer, I want to be a doctor. People are proud to tell you that I want to be a barber, I want to be a celebrity barber, I want to be an actress. Now, our choice of courses in some of our tertiary institutions, are they not going to hinder the adequate, manpower or, intellectual capacity to be needed in dealing with climate change? Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you very much. And I think to solve that, part of the solution is what we are doing today. Our students need awareness. Yes, because they see barbers, celebrity barbers, they see actresses, they see them online. But and what is the bottom line? It's money. They want money. But I always tell them, even these so-called celebrities, these so-called musicians that you see that are spending money, they work hard. You think it's easy to write music? It's not easy. There was a time this P Square sang a song, and I took the lyrics. P Square said, in part of the lyrics says that, you see us, we are dancing, we are spending money, that when we don't sleep, you don't see us. When he was singing that song, that they spend money and everything, but that when you see many of them, they will wake up in the night because the tune of that song can just disappear. You will always see them with a pen. I've read a lot, some of them have been interviewed. Why do you think some musicians are not making it? Why do you think others are making it? They work hard. David Book said something recently. He was saying that people are beefing me. He said, I work hard, that I don't rely on my father's money. So likewise, but because they post on the internet, you think life is all about celebrities. No. I mentioned that there is financial rewards. Let me tell you, when I traveled, the conference I did in Egypt, it was all sponsored by an international organization. There is money in sustainability because they need people to do research. Now to your question, that when we do that, is there a way, maybe there's a way we can talk about how we can combat this climate change? That is the essence of research. When you do research like this, I worked on this in Ilesa local government. When you do research, you come out with something. You want to address the root cause of what is happening. What is the problem? You see, when you travel to Ilesa and you want to buy, how much is this sachet water now? How much is it? 50 naira. I tell you, in Ilesa, they will sell it for 200 naira. Ilesa is extremely expensive because they will tell you that they have to take a boat, go to the land to buy. Everything in Ilesa is expensive. So you can imagine. So you want to find, and why is it expensive? Because potable water is scarce in Ilesa. There's no fresh water. They will go a long distance for them to get fresh water. So whatever you want to buy, it becomes scarce. So when you do research, you look at the causes of some of these things that are happening. Another thing, in that community, they don't have any mangrove. They use mangrove in Ilesa for building. They use it for building. They use it to smoke fish. Now, that community is just bare, exposed. When you are in Ayetoro, you'll be looking at the Atlantic Ocean like this. You'll be looking at it. There is nothing that serves as a barricade. That is the essence of tree planting. And in the coastal communities, they rely on mangroves because mangroves are so powerful. They prevent flooding. They do all sorts of things. They have so many advantages. There is none in Ayetoro. So what protects the environment? So the community is just exposed, and many communities are like that. So when you do research, the essence of research is that you look for the causes of. In my work, I recommended nature-based solution. When you do some of these things, you now come back and tell the government, oh, you do, this is it, you put it out there, this is the problem this community is facing. Even they themselves at times, they don't even know the cause of their problems until we now point it out to them that it is because we are doing this. And the thing is that with that problem they are facing, they've lost their livelihoods because there are some fishes that have gone into extinction. When the temperature is high, the ocean is a major reservoir for greenhouse gases. When the ocean absorbs the greenhouse gases, when the temperature is too high, the ocean water too becomes too high, and many fishes will not survive. They can't survive there. So that is the essence of research, of this awareness, telling the government that. Then I always say, what about the political will? If the government is not interested to create policies that protect the environment, then what do? So the only thing we can do is to let them realize how it's going to affect them, how it's going to affect the livelihoods of the people that rely upon them, and also how it's going to affect the whole environment in total. Did I get your question right? Okay.
Thank you very much. We are rounding up this. And those of us who live in Ibadan, we will observe, Mr. Ojola, we will observe some changes now in Ibadan. That urban watershed are now being exposed. At Eleyele, you now find all sorts of business enterprises going on around that exposes the Eleyele water to pollution. Another one is, Makinde has gone to destroy the forest behind the botanical garden. And this is a forest zone that has been preserved for decades. Every country that I've visited, there are always vegetation zones to absorb carbon dioxide. When urban watersheds are being exposed to pollution, it is part of the problem. Flood happens. So, Dr.
Sorry, sir, I remember something. Somebody mentioned the Ogunpa River, and our people, it's something that is common to our people. Once it begins to rain, you just see them, they just carry their refuse and go and dump it inside the drainage and say water will carry it away. It's not going to carry it anywhere. It's going to cause flooding somewhere else. And what goes around, come around. So that is what is happening. You see, it's the mentality of the people that, rainwater will carry the something. It's not going to carry anything away. Because water must find its level. It must find its course. So that's another thing we have to desist from.
Thank you very much, Dr. Olujumoke Adeshola Ogunrayi. I believe everybody that has listened to you will have something to take away today. I will hand over to my set chairman, Engineer Fowode, to appreciate you.
Thank you. Can I go down? Should I go down? Madam, well, you've fed us with good points on environmental, and we've taken it in. I'm sure this will rekindle interest in some of our students, because this is an area we are passionate about. Hence, what we are giving them today points towards maintaining that, sustaining good environment. Thank you for being with us today to share with us your experience, your expertise, your knowledge in this area. I'm sure we all gain from it. Didn't we, children? I hope you all gain from today's lecture. Okay, and so amongst you, let me give you a promise. You are about to leave school in the next 1 or 2 years, Am I correct? Uh-huh. I believe that those of you who will be interested in doing this course, just leave it to us. You can obtain a scholarship from us. Huh? I think that's what you... At least two. We promise that we'll be able to see you through your university days. And that goes... thank you very much, ma'am. You are welcome to Methodist High School. And we pray that the Almighty God will continue to be with you in all your future endeavors. Thank you for being with us today.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you, students.
I will now hand over to the MC.
All right, thank you very much. Please clap for Doctor again. Please clap for her again. Let's clap for her. That was profound, and I'm sure we've learned one or two. And for people who are looking for career paths, you can see that all the goodies are there, meteorology and all of that, sir. All right, thank you so much, Doctor, once again. All right, while she was speaking, while they were rounding off, Engineer Oyeleye of 1976 came in. He's standing in for the National President, Old Students Association. Please, let's celebrate Engineer Oyeleye, 1976. Thank you so much, Grandpa. And we have the former principal of Methodist School. She's also here this morning, Mrs. Adagwodo. Thank you so much for coming. Thank you so much, Mommy. All right. All right, so before we go, quickly we'll have to call on Mr. Bode Ojuola to present the goodwill message on behalf of the Chairman, Board of Trustees, Osametsi Ilesa. Thank you so much, sir. Please, let's celebrate Daddy. Erasa. Yes, sir.
Thank you very much. Good afternoon, and in addition to standing on the existing protocols, I would like to defy a little bit, just for a second, by appreciating the president of the school, our Students Association, the Board of Trustees, the management of the school. In particular, I'm impressed about the planning committee, the chairman, for what they have done. We are so grateful. Secondly, when the Baba asked me to stand in for him to commission one of the projects, he humbly requested me to come. And I asked him, if somebody at 80 plus is talking to somebody under 70, it's a directive. Apart from being my senior in school, it's not something I will turn down. And secondly, I have cause to be very happy to stand in for him. I left this place in 1970, and I cannot believe I won't come here until 2024. So a lot of changes are taking place here. I must commend the whole Student Association for the wonderful job they have done. Extremely beautiful. Each time I pass the gate, I always wish, is this my former school? I will come here one day. And thank God I was given the opportunity to come. The other reason why I'm here is that the chairman of the Ibadan, Osamesi something, is always pulling my legs. That having left school years ago, when am I coming back? So I told him I'm always coming back to the school. And secondly, when I was going through the Bioko, my brochure, I saw that a critical aspect of climate change is very important. Now, I now ask myself, what would I like to do for this school that has done so much for me? Apart from material things, which I may not be able to do. I now said, okay, I will make a pledge to the school, God willing, that a major issue has been discussed here, which is the issue of guardians, counseling, and entrepreneurship. I will bring professionals here on maybe quarterly basis, who will now speak to the students through the principal and actually ignite their passion. When we're in school, we are only interested in physics, chemistry, biology, mathematics, without letting the students, where will it lead them? I give myself as an example. I was the best in English literature in 1969. When I went to Bobi College, I was the best in geography. But nobody taught me where these things would lead me to. Now you'll be surprised, students, that people who are medical doctors are now interested in aviation industry. They are not interested in non-medical fields. You must have passion, but it will come when you now lead the students in their early formative years. I'm prepared to do that role for this school as of next year, God willing. Why I appreciate the clapping is me who is virtually be clapping for the school. So on the basis of that one, I'm very glad to represent somebody I cannot say no to. And I'm glad to be here. Thank you very much.
All right, a round of applause for him.
So, okay. I want to hand over to the principal, Mrs. Sharaibi, for her comments.
Good afternoon once again. I want to believe that we have all enjoyed the lecture. So many things that were not known to us before is now cleared to us. And some of the things that we don't care about, now we have to care about so many things that we have been told now. And I want to really appreciate the 1974 set of all students of this Citadel of Learning. You have done great. This is highly appreciated. You have opened so many things. So we thank you for this great lecture. And at the same time, we honor our lecturer. Thank you very much, Ma. And I want to thank the grandpas and the grandmas here. They are our great teachers. We appreciate your coming. We thank you very much. The Lord will continue to strengthen you. You will continue to be relevant. I appreciate my predecessor. She's up there. Mama Christiana Ayotunde Adagwodo. So also, I appreciate the vice principals of this school. They are all present here, including some of the members of staff. My students, you are great. I appreciate you for listening. You have heard the lecture. Make use of it greatly. Purposely, the lecture is for you. To make this school more greater. And even for you to follow all the instructions that will be given to you. So take it. For the crew from different places, I appreciate you too. the security. I appreciate everyone. And so also I appreciate myself. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you very much. The program is going to an end. And after this, we're going to go to a vote of thanks now. And after that, we're going to be going to commission the project at the venue where it has been cited. All right, I will call on Mrs. Bola Falori for the vote of thanks.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much. Well, I want to start by acknowledging and appreciate the Almighty God, the one that was, the one that He is, and the one that will be forevermore, for granting us this opportunity to celebrate this golden jubilee of our passing out of this great citadel of learning. We appreciate the Almighty God that today most of us are still standing, even though we have some of them that have joined the Saint Triumphant, but like 75% of us are still here, looking radiant, looking beautiful, and all to the glory of the Almighty God. And so I want to start my appreciation by starting from dear Papa Wole Oyeleye. He's actually a senior and is the chairman of Osamesi Ilesa branch, for always being there for us. And he's here today with his beautiful wife. His wife also is a member of Osamesi of Ilesa branch. So I don't know whether Baba called her very young while they are still in school. Sir. No response, sir.
Good afternoon. My getting Mrs. Emma Oyele is a coincidence. Highly coincidence. We met by omission commission. If you have told me that me, Odutola, I left Methodist school 1975, I will say no. But it's a coincidence. Thank you very much.
So, Madam, thank you so much for taking good care of him. And Baba, thank you more for looking after her. That's why she's looking radiant. Then I want to thank all our seniors. Let me start from our teachers, Mr. and Mrs. Adegoke. I want to appreciate you, Ma, for coming to celebrate with us. God will continually bless you in the name of Jesus. We cannot forget the impact that you have made in the life of most of us. Is it in the times of looking elegant? I told some of us, I said, you are still speaking that Queen's English. That is mean that you are still very, very relevant. And so you continue to be relevant in the name of Jesus. Thank you for coming along with Papa. We acknowledge your presence and we want to say a very big thank you for honoring us. And so next is Baba Ojikutu, Ojiwusi, a great mathematician of that time. Thank you, sir. You are part and part of us because your better half is one of us. So thank you for honoring us. Then to my dear brother, the younger Tat, the only 70 but look like 16. Thank you, sir. You are one of our teachers too, and we acknowledge you. And we are happy to have you in our midst. Thank you for celebrating with us. And to my dear principal, both old and new, you have been very, very supportive. I want to thank you for accommodating us. I want to thank you since yesterday. Your hospitality to us is very encouraging. Thank you for making everything homely for us. We say thank you. And to my dear doctor, our guest speaker, the Methodist High School student, how are you today? Aren't you blessed? That lecture, Madam, in terms of your knowledgeability in this area is first class. I'm not surprised that you are a PH holder in this your line. You have done justice to that topic. A lot of things that some of us don't know is an eye-opener for us. And so for this little one, God now the headers then we want to be a doctor, a lawyer, engineer. There are so many opportunities out there for you. Some of us, after being a lawyer, you will look for another profession. You will say, okay, I have a daughter that has all the degrees in law. All of a sudden, say you want to do project management. And I say, and I said, okay, that's your wish. The most important thing is that we have trained you in whatever you want. And today, to the glory of God, she's doing fantastically well. He always makes me proud. He's an international person now, going from one country because of, I said, in that days, we don't know anything about project management. It's like, you must be a lawyer, you must be a doctor, you must be a nurse, you must be this. But gone at that era. So this opportunity you have today is something I want you to take seriously. And if you look at all the Osamesis, all the group, various said that have been contributing physically to make the environment beautiful, to do one thing or the other in terms of the physical structure. But today, we are trying to diversify, to enrich your knowledge about something that is just in thing now. And we are just looking at it and catering for the cognitive aspect of education, which is knowledge-based. And that's exactly what 74 sets have done. Quite different from renovating a classroom, doing this, doing that. It's another thing to renovate a classroom. But the knowledge base is very, very important. So, Madam, thank you so much. Thank you so much. We pray for more wisdom, more knowledge for you in the name of Jesus. And this your chosen area. You will stand before kings in the name of Jesus. Thank you so much. And to my set, the ESCO, especially the planning committee, you have done extremely great. Great. The likes of Dr. Fashew and the chair himself, Mr. Nigi Odebode, you have done extremely brilliantly well. I give kudos to you. Without you and that your planning committee, we cannot achieve what you are achieving today. I want to say that to you. You have done very well. Thank you for not bringing 74 to that high standard. And God will always be there for you in the name of Jesus. You will not walk among us in vain. You will reap the fruit of your labor in the name of Jesus. And to all my co-mates, where do I start? Other than to say thank you, and thank you. Thank you for your cooperation. We all cooperated with the planning committee. It's another thing for the planning committee to say this is what they want. It's another thing for all of us to say, oh, but you have all contributed materially, morally, financially to make today a very huge success. Thank you, and thank you. And to all the other crews, thank you so much for supporting us. The MCs, we acknowledge you, we say thank you. And all the other crews at the media team, let me call you the media team. Thank you for supporting us. God bless you all.
All right, thank you so much. Please, a round of applause for her again. All right, now I am told by Mr. Odebode that we will move to the project sites in groups. No, at once, together. So we'll just go there together and commission the projects there. Thank you very much once again. My name is Shegun Olabi, and I think I'm calling it a day here today. Thank you, grandpas. Thank you, students. Thank you, uncles. Thank you, aunties. And I sign out. Thank you.
Please, the members on the high table will come out first and we go to the project sites. We have 2 sites. This first one will be unveiled by Engineer Oyeleye, and the other one will be unveiled by Mr. Ujola. So please let us move to the site now. And everybody, let us move together so that we can get the project commissioned and handed over to the school. Thank you very much. End of the building, end of the hall.
is one of the waste houses that have been constructed by 74%. The objective is this. Sometime last year, myself and Dr. Patrick came to heap of solid waste that was created. There and then, we gave a call to Osun State Waste Management Agency to come and help us pack the waste away. And on that day, we started thinking of a way out of this problem because there was another location up here. And we thought that the best way to manage solid waste is to control it from the source of generation. So that we suggested that in each of the classrooms, we will distribute waste baskets. And on the corridor of each block, there will be bigger waste containers. So that as the students sweep their classrooms, as they clean the laboratories, as they clean the staff offices, as they clean the library, everywhere, they will put the waste generated from that source in the waste baskets. And they will take it to the bigger waste bin on the corridor. And the bigger waste bin will be emptied into the nylon waste bag here. And for now, we have provided 400 waste bags. And we deliver to the school today. And we have also provided waste baskets that are sufficient for the classrooms, the laboratories, and everywhere. So after building this, we just want to appeal to the school to help us enforce this culture of effective waste management. So that anytime anybody comes in, there will be no heat of solid waste. And only in Lutoba COP, that we have provided the facility for the school, and we believe that the school will effectively manage it. So this one is supposed to be, the tape is supposed to be cut by the national president, Engineer Gbenga Akintola, but he has duly nominated one of the fathers of Osamesi. Osamesi means Post-Student Association of Methodist Science Fiducia. He has duly invited him to represent him. We cut the tape, then our set chairman will make an handing over statement, and the place will be open, led by the chairman, followed by the principal, every one of us, as many of us as those can take. That will give us a proper handing over to the school. After doing this, I thought we would be able to walk to the other end to commission the other one. But there's a suggestion that there are old people who may not be able to find walking from this place to that place easy. I don't know whether they are in a midst. So such people can be in their vehicles and drive to the former place where we used to play, was it hockey? The whole hockey field. So that we go there and commission the second one. Thank you very much. So, your consent.
On behalf of the National President, Architect Gbenga Akintola, who gave all this gift, on behalf of those students, on behalf of 1974, the team staff, on behalf of the Father, Son, and the Holy Spirit. Amen.
Representing most students on the four sets, I want to congratulate the school for having ended through the set. And officially, we humbly present this to the school through the principal. In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the
Some of the things we have also done, some of the things we have also done is to have this. You can see 50 meters, so that this will be erected at different locations within the compound. So that any student walking within the compound see a piece of paper, you pick it. And in addition to this, we are going to also erect waste baskets at different locations. So that as I walk through the campus, I pick a piece of paper. I will not walk too far before I will be able to find a place to drop. So these ones will be erected. Then we have this baskets to be distributed to each class, laboratory, library, every center. And then we have a bigger one. Each of these will be located on the corridor of the building. So as we end from that to this, when this, maybe at the end of each day or at the end of the second day, it will be brought here, there will always be a live, there will always be a live bag. You come here, you dump the waste here, you close it like this. When it is filled up, you tie and push the pack there. If we do not have what is sufficient for evacuation till the end of the term, at the end of the term, every bag filled with waste will be evacuated by the Osun State Waste Management Agency dump site. That is the procedure that we want to adopt. And we beg you students to please cooperate with us and do it effectively. Man, you know that there's always a sanitation problem for the school. Maybe one. We are pleading that we have two sanitation prevents, one on the other end, and that one like this end. So they will work with the teacher in charge of sanitation to enforce the laws. Thank you very much.
We have a bigger office of the seats down. So as you enter the campus, you see no inside the street. This walls are. And then so as you have just
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you very much. Those of us that cannot walk, can we please take our cars and let's go to the other end.